You definitely want to do side-by-side comparison with the raindrop chart. You can see here this was confirmation that even though it looks like sellers were coming in, what more likely happened was there were a bunch of buy orders during the day, even probably market orders going on, and once those big buyers were done, supply and demand got back into equilibrium at a lower price.
This is the How to Trade Stocks and Options podcast, brought to you by 10MinuteStockTrader.com, where we cover finance, stocks, options, entrepreneurship, education, and money. And here's your host, voted one of the top 100 people in finance, Christopher Uhl. Today's episode is produced in partnership with TrendSpider. Get scanning, charts, backtesting, and alerts all in one place with TrendSpider. Go to trendspider.10MinuteStockTrader.com to get an exclusive discount code and bonuses worth over $100 when you take your free trial at trendspider.10MinuteStockTrader.com. Hey, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified every time we give you more tools, tips, and tricks to help you trade faster and trade smarter every single week.
Hey everybody, Jake here with TrendSpider to do another technical analysis series video on raindrops and what exactly is a raindrop. So a raindrop chart is a volume-based chart. If you're familiar with a price bar, generally with a price bar, your left bar is your open, your right bar is your close. For this particular type of chart, the left bar is your volume-weighted average price for the first half of the time period you're looking at. So if we're looking at a daily chart, it's the first half of the day. Second bar here is the second half of the day's VWAP, and you can see on top of that is the volume profile. So what you can do with this is you can use this around important levels of resistance and support. So for example, here on lows, you can see here how we have this diagonal resistance. We broke through intraday on October 7th. You can see the wick right here. And then the difference though is looking at the candle versus the actual raindrop. So you can see here we technically closed below this resistance line on October 7th. And with the raindrop, what you can see is you can see a lot of the volume profile for this particular candle. A lot of that volume was being absorbed by buyers above this resistance line. So the raindrop isn't going to tell you if this is buying volume, is it selling volume, whatever the case is. What it's going to tell you is where are those buyers actually stepping in and absorbing supply. There's always going to be a seller anytime there's a buyer. So if I come in and I buy 1 million shares, I have an institution, whatever, I'm an institution, I come in and buy 1 million shares, there's someone selling those shares to me. So it's more or less where are those buyers actually absorbing that supply that's being dumped on the market. And you can see here, in this case, within this wick, you don't have to go down to the 2-minute or the 5-minute chart. You can simply go to the raindrop to see where that volume was really aggregating for the day, and you can see the nice continuation up. So anytime you have a candlestick wick through a resistance line, but you close below it, you definitely want to do side-by-side comparison with the raindrop chart. You can see here this was confirmation that even though it looks like sellers were coming in, what more likely happened was there were a bunch of buy orders during the day, even probably market orders going on, and once those big buyers were done, supply and demand got back into equilibrium at a lower price. So just because you have a wick like this doesn't mean sellers came in. It could simply mean that buyers were done for the day and supply and demand got back into equilibrium at a lower price. So this is the example whenever you have a wick with volume within that wick and a continuation up. But here's an example on Spotify back a few months ago where you have the exact opposite happen. You've got diagonal resistance here. You can see the same type of setup. We technically closed below this resistance line. You can see the wick here on October 27th. Intraday we broke through but couldn't close. This is where you do a side-by-side comparison to the raindrop, and you can see there's no volume profile within this wick. So if we zoom this in, you can see it's pretty much flat right here compared to the big bulge of volume that we saw with lows, and we had our continuation up. Here we had a false breakout. We have the confirmation by the raindrop chart that there is no volume within this wick, and this was the way to see that there was definitely not a lot of conviction by buyers during this attempt at a breakout. Now if we move over, you can see something different. Once we finally did break through this line, there was actually a decent amount of volume above the resistance line, and then that was our confirmation for a higher move up. So generally you have a nice breakout, volume confirming the breakout. Sometimes, a lot of the time, honestly, you'll have a retest of this area, and then you'll have your continuation up like we saw on Spotify. So hopefully this video helps you understand how you can get an edge in the market, looking at raindrops versus hollow candles, seeing the supply and demand from a different perspective, and really being able to use this to get an edge in the market. If you have any questions, please let us know, but hopefully this video was helpful in understanding a little more about raindrops and how you can use them around support and resistance lines. Everybody have a great day, and thanks for watching.
Okay, so what'd you think? That was pretty incredible, right? Now, if you liked that, that's only a taste, only a sample of what you're going to find in the full AI stock trading system. And I really highly encourage you to go and check this out. Obviously, you are interested in learning on how to trade, and that's why you're listening to this podcast. Now, I'm going to take and download my entire trading system that I use day in and day out onto you. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is over at the AIStockTradingSystem.com. You're going to get phase 1, 2, and 3, several bonuses, and on top of that, I'm going to walk you through over a dozen trades that I put on inside of my account, holding your hand and showing you exactly how I got in, how I got out, how I use the artificial intelligence data, and how this could work inside of your own trading portfolio on a daily basis. So make sure you head on over to AIStockTradingSystem.com. That's AIStockTradingSystem.com to learn more and to get started and to download my decade plus worth of trading experience into your hands so you can start using the AI stock trading system today, the 5-step system to take the guesswork out of trading. Hey, if you like this video, let me know by leaving me a like below, and then subscribe and share it with somebody you think could use it as well. Be sure to comment below with your biggest takeaway from this episode and any suggestions you have for future episodes. And finally, make sure you watch these other videos to help you trade faster and trade smarter, and I'll see you on the next episode.